Welcome back to another F1Manager24 video. This time we are at the Japanese Grand Prix. Not a lot has happened in between the last race and this race. No new designs coming in. Give me a second. Anyway, sorry about that. I'm trying to keep these nice and short. Anyway, so no new designs coming in. I need to switch my engine parts down to practice parts, and hopefully when I switch them back, I don't get a 21 plus grade, 21 plus grid penalty. But we will see. However, we do have a new affiliate, and it's probably said that since day one, but you get 10 affiliates, which is wild, which is crazy. But we stole Abby Pulling from Alpine, which is, you know, if we're going to get somebody from Alpine in real life, at least we got the better driver. 21 with a 59 overall, which is better than 23 at 58. I mean, technically, they are both still young. But if we, how do you tell? Development rate is average for her, whereas the development rate is also average for her. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So we're going to continue to look for somebody, but I feel like that one as well. But as we spoke about it in the last video, Bianca, her, does it say it over here anywhere? Development, performance, development. No, that's aggression. Scouted, enthusiastic. Markability is 64 out of 100. Development rate is high. There we go. That's what we're looking for. But she is still in negotiations. Does that change? Development rate. Oh, okay, so that's what that is. Okay, so the other one is higher. So like obviously that one would be the better one, because she is younger and she has I think the same overall at the moment. What was her overall? I know she's pretty decent. A 55 at 18. So you know, like I'm just saying, with a high one too. Like yeah, she could end up being a driver if she decides to come drive for us. But anyway, we are at Japan right now with Ollie Behrman and Sophia Flourish. They're going to go out there and hopefully not get penalized and hopefully finish inside the points once again. But only way to tell is to get there. So I will see you guys in qualifying. Here we are in Q1 here in Japan as Ollie Behrman is coming down to set the time to beat, and that time to beat is going to be a 1:27.0. As Sophia Flourish comes in a second slower than he was. Here at the end of qualifying Q1, we are sitting P3 and P10 at the moment. I decided to keep them in, maybe a little risky there for Flo, as we have Albon coming to P14, Gasly, Joe 22, Magnussen. Flo drops down to P11 as Piastri, who's already above her. Ricardo goes above her, that's going to drop her down to P12. Norris is already above her, goes P2. Alonso P13. Here we are in Q2, watching Ollie Behrman come around with a purple 1 and a green 2. So he's going faster than somebody with a 1:28.6. Flo going to be half a second behind him. Here comes Oliver Behrman to finish out with a yellow sector 1, a green sector 2. He comes across the line, and he will move up to P7 as we go to watch Sophia come across the line here with a green sector 1 and a green sector 2. And she only moved up to P15. Oh, brother. I might have been colorblind there for a little bit, but it did look like a green sector 1 and a green sector 2. And the only other person to come across the line is Lewis Hamilton, but he's actually going to go into the pit lane, so he will be out here in Q2. So once again, for the 4th time in a row, it will be Ollie Behrman moving on to Q3. Setting the time to beat here in Q number 3 as Ollie Behrman comes across the line on the tires that he used in the last Q qualifying session, whatever. A 1:27.0 is that time to beat. Everybody else is out on their out lap, so we won't be able to tell, but there is a yellow flag out there. What happened? Was it there? No. It was George Russell who locked up. Here we are in Q3 coming across the line. 17 seconds left in qualifying as we start our last lap with Oliver Behrman, who is sitting P3 at the moment. I want to say 4 tenths ahead of Verstappen, who's in P4, 2 tenths behind Carlos Sainz, who was literally right behind Oscar Piastri. So there is a chance for another high qualifying for Oliver Bearman, and this time without any penalties. We should be fine with a purple Sector 1 here in Q3 from Oliver Bearman, as time has run out. So this is the last of the last, and hopefully this car in front of us gets out of the way. We don't want no impedings. We don't want no traffic. Get out of the way. That looked like an Aston Martin. I'm going to assume that it was Alonso, who here in Japan has finally decided to be better than Lance Stroll, because I don't see Lance Stroll back here at all in this qualifying session. I don't see him anywhere. George Russell is done. He moves up to P7, coming through PQ. Section 2 is another purple sector for Oliver Bearman as he races down to the line, looking to get provisional pole, and hopefully the first pole ever for Cringy F1 Racing, as Oscar Piastri, he is done. Is now a green sector 2 for Oliver Bearman as he comes across the line with provisional pole, and that is something we love to see. Where is Carlos Sainz? Where is Leclerc is going to take provisional pole away from Oliver Bearman, as now we are taking a look here at Carlos Sainz, who will be the last person to come across the line, and that is if he is on a flying lap. I wish there was a way to tell without having to sit here and wait to see if he goes into the pit lanes or not. As he goes into the pit lanes, it will be P2 for Oliver Bearman here in Japan.
The drivers are warmed up. They're ready to go here at the Japanese Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
There we are, starting in P2 with Oliver Bearman, starting in 15th with Sophia Flores. Going down to turn number 1, we are going to hold on to P2 with Ollie Bearman. Actually, no, we are not. Oscar Piastri is going to take that outside line and get right up in front of us, as we will move down to P3 with Bearman, down to P16 with Sophia Flores, who got passed by Alexander Albon, but it was Max Verstappen who decided not to take the inside. But now we got a long straight, and this time Max Verstappen will take that inside, and he will easily, and is that Sergio Perez trying to make it 3 wide? Sergio Perez was probably looking to make it 3 wide. Oliver Bearman drops down to P4, coming. It is supposed to rain near the end of this race, as Sergio Perez is looking up the inside, and he's going to take P4 away from Oliver Bearman. But is that Bearman coming back on a Red Bull? It is Bearman coming back on a Red Bull. He's going to have the inside, and Bearman is actually going to lose out on Perez, but I don't know. I just figured I'd try something different, and then we'll see how long it takes for those mediums to last, because I don't think, according to the schedule here, P5 flows down to P18 as Bearman takes the inside there on Perez, and he's actually going to get it, so he's now back up to P4. Here comes Flores with some DRS. Down to turn 1, she's going to have that one easily. Norris has caught him and stayed with him. I wonder if Norris also pushed on that ERS this lap. He's going to have the DRS as well, and going into turn 1 and 2, he will have P4. I don't know. George Russell in the pit lanes, so that's going to move everybody up. Oh! That looked like contact between Tsunoda and George Russell, but Flores will gain that spot. She will take P14. Maybe I saw wrong and it was George Russell looking for the inside. I don't know. Hulkenberg is in the pit lanes. That's going to be DRS with nobody in front of her, as Russell is trying to get around her, but nothing going on down into turn number 1. So now she is up to P13 in DRS range of Lance Stroll as he comes in to do his little swamperoo, and it's going to be at 2.686 as he comes out of the pit lanes. Piastri in front of him, Perez behind him. Piastri should be getting in front of Carlos Sainz soon, and here comes Bearman to take P5 right back as Carlos Sainz gets out of the pit lanes, but he will be behind Perez, who Zhou Guanyu, Nico Hulkenberg, and P17. So there's a spin from Sophia Flores.
Closely here.
Just
round they go. And that won't do anything to help those tires.
it won't do anything to help those tires, and that's the truth, Crofty. That is the truth. As she gets back to going, she's still in P14, still about 10 seconds ahead of Alexander Albon on those tires anymore. As Behrman drops down to P6 as Perez catches up and gets up in front of him. Decided to go ahead and box Flo a little bit early. If we look at the strategy here, the rain is now starting earlier. So we're going to put her on soft tires, actually. She gets out in a 2.7. So the soft tires will definitely make it to the rain as she tries to beat out Kevin Magnussen, and she does so perfectly. DRS, ERS coming down to turn number 1 as she gets in front of Zhou with ease, assuming he doesn't have a contract for next season. Looking up in the inside, Sophia Flores is going to get that one. Quite a few people. I wonder if she can beat anybody out. I do believe she came in at P18. What'd she get? A 2.7. Gasly had a slow pit stop. So we do overtake Gasly. So maybe it was P19 we came in because Pierre Gasly had beaten us out. Did Behrman go in yet? You're joking. You're joking. You're joking. We messed up. We messed up. There's absolutely no way I messed up that bad. There's no way. You're joking. You're joking. How bad is this rain going to be? How bad is this rain? Oh my goodness. There's no way I put him on hards. You're joking. Oliver Behrman has come out onto the track, sitting P10 behind Alonso and George Russell. There's no DRS. However, Oliver Behrman is probably cussing us out right now in this car. She's doing a lot better so far here with Cringy F1 Racing over Has in F1Manager24 as Oliver Behrman looks up the inside on Lance Stroll to take P10. Hulkenberg, he locked up. So that is going to help Sophia Flores catch up a little bit. We're actually going to let him push. We're going to put Sophia on a top up so that she can have more ERS, and down we go into turn number 1, and it's Oliver Behrman up a spot into P8. More laps on this track before we get to the very end, and there's another yellow flag. It was Lewis Hamilton who went wide, allowing Oliver Behrman to get up into P7. Let's take a look at that once again. Here's a number 44, 7-time world champ, forgetting how to drive as he goes off into the gravel there at the sharp U-turn, and Ollie Behrman is going to take that spot, and so is George Russell. Any kind of balance as Max Verstappen comes across the line to finish. Sophia! Alright, so we're just going to go back to balance and standard on her as she is sitting P17, 10 seconds, 11 seconds ahead of Bottas, and now 2.5 seconds behind Nico Hulkenberg. I just don't see her getting P16 anymore. There's just no... I just don't see that one happening. Sophia Flores will actually find the finish line before Oliver Behrman. So we're going to watch her come across the line in P17 to finish this race here in Japan. I need to go back and figure out what her highest finish is. As Oliver Behrman once again finishes P7, the highest finish in F1 he has ever gotten. As hey, brother, you went? Oh, she did spin out too. She spun out and then she did that thing. Okay. So Oliver Behrman, P7, highest finish he ever had. He got it in Bahrain the first time. He was out in Jeddah. He got P9 in Australia. And P7 once again here in Japan.
And no doubt, Verstappen fans will be celebrating the Dutchman's achievements.
third win of the season has to leave them and the team feeling confident.
And a lovely show of sportsmanship to conclude proceedings here in Japan.
And that is the end of the Japanese Grand Prix. Max Verstappen winning another Grand Prix. I believe that's his third one. This is the fourth round, and he lost to Lando Norris back in Australia. Speaking of, Lando Norris gets P2. Charles Leclerc, P3. That is your podium. And it's going to be another Red Bull podium because they did get a first place. But it's not two of them on the podium. Anyway, Oscar Piastri gets P4, Sergio Perez gets P5, Carlos Sainz gets P6, and Oliver Bearman dropped 5 places down to P7, the highest finish that he has had yet in F1. We are hoping to break that soon. George Russell P8, Lance Stroll P9, and Lewis Hamilton getting points this week as he finishes in the top 10. You got Fernando Alonso, Yuki Tsunoda, Daniel Ricciardo, Alexander Albon, Esteban Ocon, Nico Hulkenberg. Sophia Flores drops down 2 spots to finish out in P17. I don't know what her highest is. I think it's around 14, 13. I could be wrong. I need to go figure that out. Valtteri Bottas, Zhou Guan Yu, Pierre Gasly, Logan Sargent, Kevin Magnussen ended up not finishing this race. I did not see that. Otherwise, we would have shown that. Moving on to the drivers, Max Verstappen extends his lead up into P1 over Lando Norris, who is in second. So now it is a 23-point gap there. And then Charles Leclerc with 63 points sitting in P3. Sergio Perez in P4. Oscar Piastri moves up a spot to P5. Carlos Sainz dropping a spot to P6. And then George Russell in P7, Oliver Bearman in P8 still. He is now in double digits. He does have 14. He is still right there behind him, so he could find George Russell for P7, but that will take some time. Anyway, Lance Stroll is in P9. Lewis Hamilton is in P10, so this was not his first point race finish. Anyway. Yuki Tsunoda has 1 point. Fernando Alonso has 1 point. Danny Rick is leading the 0 pointers with Alexander Albon, Nico Hulkenberg, Sophia Flores, Esteban Ocon, Valtteri, Pierre, Kevin, Logan, and Zhou Guan Yu there. So there's no change down there in the 0 pointers. Moving on to the constructors, we have Red Bull on top, extending their lead this time as well. McLaren in second, Ferrari in third, Mercedes in fourth, Cringy F1 Racing in fifth, Aston Martin in sixth, RB Visa Cash App, whatever, in seventh, Williams in eighth. Williams actually leading the 0 pointers in the constructors, has in ninth, Alpine in 10th, and Kick Sauber in last. Moving on to the pit stops. You have Lando Norris having the fastest with a 2.445, and Oliver Bearman in P4 with a 2.560. And okay, so he does get his points today as we look at the constructors. McLaren on top with 99 points, Red Bull moving up to P2, and Ferrari in P3. That's your top 3 best pit stop crews so far this season. V-Carb in 4th, Aston Martin in 5th, Mercedes in 6th, Alpine in 7th. Cringy F1 Racing moving up 2 spots to P8 with 14 points. That is absolutely crazy because Oliver Bearman also has 14 points in P8 in the drivers. Anyway, Haas moves up 2 spots to P9. Williams moves down 2 spots to P10. Kick Sauber moves down 2 spots to P11. And that is the end of the Japanese Grand Prix. Up next, we have the Chinese Grand Prix, and I can't lie to you, I'm actually kind of excited about the Chinese Grand Prix. So, we have Oliver Bearman in 8th place in the drivers at a 75 overall. We have Sophia Flores 16th place in the drivers with a 58 overall. Sophia Flores also holding on to the lowest mentality, as the mentality hub has changed to put mostly positive. As we take a look over here, nobody's enthusiastic, but we now have 7 people inside the positive era, and Oliver Bearman being one of them. In the neutral area, we have just 3. Raphael, who has no picture. That's probably why he's neutral, because he's like, man, uh, I'm so mad I didn't show up to the picture day. That's probably why, honestly. Pedro and Sophia, and if I'm not mistaken, positive, neutral, positive, negative, neutral. So she's still mad at herself more than anything. Oliver Behrman, not so much mad at himself. Let's see, is anybody else mad at themselves? No, everybody's pretty neutral with themselves, except for Abby Pulling. She is okay with how she is doing. Um, Participated in practice. Okay, so that's all it takes for Abby Pulling. Let's see who else? Who else? Who else? Teresa Nunez participated in practice, mentoring, and contract salary. So she had quite a bit more. What was hers? Neutral, neutral, and positive. She's just unhappy with others. As we go to our racing team, yes, that's what I thought. These two, they work with each other. So they just don't like each other, I guess, because these two are low as well. I don't know if that builds up over time or what. Unhappy with other staff by a lot. Unhappy with other staff by a lot. But it doesn't say what other staff they're unhappy with or why they're unhappy. But anyway, that was the Japanese Grand Prix. Coming up next, we have the Chinese Grand Prix, and that is in. There used to be a thing that told me is that what next? That's round 5. I don't think it's in 5 days. It's in the weather forecast is in 4 days. So that's what 4th, January, February, March, April 12th. Because I was about to say December 4th, and that's not December 4th. There's a big difference between how we here in America write our dates, and it's always month, day, year. I've just recently found out that a lot of people from overseas do day, month, year. So that is that one. I couldn't tell you how many days, but I'm also just not the smartest person. So it's not this week, it's next week. So we have a good little bit of time before the next race. But it's going to be in the next video anyway, so it ain't like we have to wait that long. You know what I mean? Anyway, thank you for watching. If you like the video, hit that like button. If you can't wait for the next one, hit that subscribe button. I do like seeing those numbers come up, and I have definitely been reading comments that has been posted on at least one of my videos. Talking about, and I am in the same boat as you are. What's that name? Posterize. I'm also excited that this series is back because I am absolutely in love with this game, and I love it. I love it. So thank you for commenting. Thank you for liking. And thank you for subbing. I'm seeing those numbers go right back up now that we are doing F1 Manager again. And yeah, yeah, we got a ways to go. We got a ways to go. And I've got a couple of ideas outside of just my team. And I just got to figure out how to put it into play. Either way, my team will be here for a good bit. And then we have the other storylines and all that other stuff. Anyway, I don't know what it is you guys do outside of YouTube, but I hope you enjoy your life doing so, and I'll catch you next time.